Hello, welcome to Bored and Confused, where I review shows based on two criteria. One, was I bored? Two, was I confused? Today's show is Reunions, or The 12-Pound Look and A Sunny Morning, playing at NY City Center 2. Now, this is the space below City Center in the basement. They have two stages. This is the smaller one. It seats about 150. It's a thrust stage with audience on three sides. So it's a very intimate theater space that I really enjoy seeing shows in this space. Before I jump into this, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me grow my audience, also helps me to get more press tickets. I wouldn't have seen this show if I wasn't able to get a press ticket for it. So thank you for helping me get more of these press tickets. So the reason I was interested in seeing this is I just read the synopsis, and it's two one-act plays that have been combined to create an evening-length show. And I wrote a show a few years back that used two O. Henry stories, also set in the 1900s, like these plays. And I really wanted to see how they handled the challenge of putting two unrelated stories together. There's not a lot of shows, or really high-profile shows like Broadway shows, that consist of separate stories. The biggest one I can think of is The Apple Tree by Bach and Harnick, which uses actually three stories. One by Mark Twain, The Diary of Adam and Eve, and then I think it's The Princess and the Tiger and Passionella. I forget the authors. Those stories have very little to do with each other. But that's one of the more successful kind of shows that have taken this approach. So I was really interested to see this. And on top of that, it features Chip Zien and Joanna Glushak in it, and they are Broadway veterans who I was like, well, I want to see them perform. And in this intimate theater, yes, please. So excited to come see this show. It is written by, book and lyrics by Jeffrey Sharf, and music by Jimmy Collier. I'm not familiar with these guys. This is in the Manhattan Theater Club space, but I think this is not produced by Manhattan Theater Club because it says Act 2 Theatricals. So this may be an independent production, separate from MTC. So I have one pet peeve that I want to say right out from the top. This show is based on two one-act plays that are now in the public domain because they're written in like 1910. But it doesn't tell us anywhere. It doesn't credit those plays. So I think that's an unfortunate oversight. So I had to look this up to see who wrote these plays. Now, The 12-Pound Look, the first play, which is about 60 minutes. No intermission, we do 100 minutes. The first one's 60, the second one's 40. 12-Pound Look was written by J.M. Barrie, and it basically centers around this rich man, Sir Harry, who is preparing to be knighted. This is in London. It takes place in a drawing room. And his wife, who's in this beautiful dress, comes in and she expresses that she wants to do something. He's like, no, you just need to be beautiful and be the lady of the house. She wants to help answer the correspondences, congratulating him on his knighthood. He says, nope, I've hired a typist to do that. The typist eventually shows up, and we learn that the typist is actually Sir Harry's first wife, who left him just left a note and escaped and left him. And he has not seen her since. And then we talk about the reasons why she left. The second play, Sunny Morning, involves two older folks who meet each other on a park bench, and as they begin to talk, they realize that they actually used to know each other in their young days and had a romance. It's called Reunions because both of these stories are about lovers reuniting, and both of these have memories of relationships, of what happened. What I thought really worked in these productions is, number one, the actors were great. Specifically, Chip Zien and Joanna Glushak together in the second play were fantastic. And I also really enjoyed the main three actors, Brian Fankart as Sir Harry, Chilean Kennedy as Kate, the first wife, and Courtney Reed as Lady Emmy Sims, the second wife. They were all terrific singers. All the actors were really great. I thought the costume design by Jen Caprio was very true to the period. All of these characters are well-to-do, so they have very beautiful costume. The wigs were great, the shoes, all of it looked great. The set design was great. I loved in the drawing room, there's a huge painting of a park, and then that becomes the backdrop for the second show, which takes place in a park. So set design, also the musicians, 5 musicians, they sounded fantastic. There was one woman who played violin and accordion and ukulele, and she was wandering through the proceedings, and I love seeing multi-instrumentalists, of which most of these musicians were. It was all fantastic. Let's talk about, was I bored, was I confused? So the first show, The 12-Pound Look, has 12 songs in it, and It starts with the servants who are excited that Sir Harry is going to become a knight. They sing a song. Then Sir Harry comes in and he's trying on his outfit and he sings a song. Then his wife comes in and he wants to practice how he's going to be knighted and he sings a song. And he's very pompous and very self-obsessed and not a very likable character. So I'm asking myself, who is my main character and what's the conflict? Then the wife, though, starts to express some interest in doing something than other just being the lady of the house, but he shuts her down. And I go, well, okay, maybe she's my character, but she doesn't seem to have a strong I want, and she's not given a song to really express that. Then the typist arrives, and she has a moment with the lady of the house, and they sing a song. She's curious about the typing and how she does it in her job. So we're halfway through. We're at the 6th song. We're halfway through the score. We're halfway through the show. Sir Harry comes in and meets the typist and realizes that it's his first wife. And then I finally went, the typist is my main character, and this is the drama. But then the rest of the story is them remembering back to something that happened a long time ago. And yes, it's dramatic, them meeting like this, but a lot of it's about memories. And so I just felt that it wasn't a very dramatic story. And the second story as well is these two older couples come, and as they speak, they reminisce about, they actually used to know each other and they're reconnecting. And it's very lovely and it's very heartfelt, but it's not incredibly dramatic. So, was I bored? Was I confused? I did get a little bored during the show, especially in the first one because I didn't have anyone really to root for. I didn't know what we were doing. And then the second one, I'm not really bored because these actors are so good, but as far as the story goes, it's not a super dramatic, exciting story. So a little bit of boredom there. Was I confused? No, the sound design was great. I understood every word. I understood what was happening in the story, but confused by who I was supposed to be rooting for. And my main confusion is overarching, my big question is when you write a musical, the question is, why does this story need to be a musical? Does this story sing? Does it have characters who feel like they need to burst out into song? Is there something emotional and dramatic that is happening that they need to sing a song? And I don't think these stories felt like that had characters that needed to sing. And what was happening a lot in this show is I felt like they were singing dialogue. Especially when it was a ballad, I was like, I would rather just hear the dialogue because it would be quicker and it would allow the actors to inject humor in it. This show had a light sense of humor about it, but it didn't have really hilarious comic songs. This felt more like we're taking these plays and we're turning them into musicals because the writers wanted to hear it sung. But emotionally, to me, didn't warrant being a musical. But if you just look at it as a chamber piece where the characters happen to break into song, I don't think the play loses anything. You still get to enjoy the play, I think, as it was intended. I haven't read these plays, but it felt like I don't think a lot was done to change these plays. It feels like structurally they were probably the same. I did read about A Sunny Day, and it did say that the audience realizes that they have a history before the characters do. But they changed that in this musical, which I think was a smart choice, because in musicals you're talking about your inner voice, your feelings. They each realize that the other is someone they know, but they don't think the other person knows. And I thought that was a good choice because it actually added a little more interest to the story. So let me wrap this up. A little bit bored, a little confused why this was a musical. But if you want to spend a Sunday afternoon and in a very intimate theater with some really good actors, specifically these veterans, Chip and Joanna, I think it's worth that to just spend some time with a well-produced show. It's directed by Gabriel Barr. I thought everything was clear, everything looked good, so he did a good job with all that. So if a nice soft musical is something that you're longing for, then I think you'll really enjoy Reunions. Oh, tickets. I got a press ticket for this, great, but I looked online, the tickets run between $38 and about $150. All of the seats are great. In this theater, there's a turntable, so it turns a lot and you get to see the characters from every side. So I think, if you score the cheaper ticket, no problem. And I think also you will be able to find tickets to this at a lot of the discount ticket places like TDF, Today Tix, maybe even Audience Extras. So score yourself a ticket to see Reunions, come back and let me know if what you thought of the show, if you felt that it worked well as a musical and you really enjoyed this. Let me know. I love to hear your thoughts, and I will see you at the next one. Bye.
Wanna drift away, wanna stay inside the play. Keep me engaged, keep me amused with what's in front of me, 'cause